whenever I see the odds makers make a mistake, I do like to take a chunk out of them. Of course, I guess you'll be taking a chunk out of this website, but same difference. Now, I can't put this link in the description or anything like that because I'll get flagged on YouTube, but there it is. You can look up in the address bar, see where this is at. It's legal in most states have some kind of app right now that's legal. So I don't know if you can get this exact bet, but not a real big deal these days. I made this same video last year, and what it is the Iowa Hawkeyes over 7.5 wins. Now, last year I waited too long to make this video, and this actually went up to 8. And if I recall, up at 8.5. I'm not sure when I made the video. Last year when I made this video, I talked about their quarterback that transferred in that has basically come there he wants to win a national championship. He was the quarterback from Michigan. He was taking them on the verge of a national championship, and he got benched for another guy. He transferred to Iowa, and he's there to win a national championship. And last year I said this is going to change everything. And immediately after I made that video talking about betting, I think it was 8 games when I made a video, but immediately after I made the video, I looked on the internet, and he got hurt in practice before the season ever started. And he was limping around for the first 4 or 5 games. And then he got hurt bad, and they put in, he sat out for the rest of the season. And so did another star. The other star player, tight end I was talking about last year. He's not on the team now. They both he went to the NFL. He got hurt early in the season as well. And one of their star defensive linemen I didn't know about when I made this video last year. He bet on the Iowa Hawkeyes women basketball. Caitlin Clark, he put some money on a site like this, and they found out about it, and he got suspended for the entire year. And that's just to start the year. And the whole year, the team was just plagued with injuries, and they still won 10 games. This is regular season, the Big Ten schedule. They still won 10 games last year, and that was with one of the worst offenses in modern football, literally modern college football. The last 2 years, Iowa has had historically bad offense. And last year, they actually won 11 games. They should have won 11 games. There was one punt return that got called back in a game where it was a real controversial call. And they actually probably could have won 11, but it doesn't matter. We're just talking about this number here. This is what I'm talking about. They made a mistake. This number's wrong. When they make a mistake and it's in my wheelhouse, what I mean by that is my wheelhouse is things I know and things I follow. And this is a big mistake. That number is way wrong. They'll probably win 10 games this year, but they might run the table. So anyways, what I'm going to do here is I just want to show you this. Now, the odds aren't real great, 165. So I just want to show you the odds here. $10 bet wins $6.06. So the odds aren't great. So when this moves up to 8, when this moves up to 8 instead of 7.5, the odds will come down a little bit. It'll probably be like 130, 135, 140. And so, you get like $7 or $8 for every $10. So I'm going to bet this until the season starts. It's a month away, and I'm going to be putting money on this all the way up to 9 games. I doubt it'll go to 9. This is bound to go to at least 8, and most likely 8.5. The real number should be 9, and that's why this is wrong. And why is this wrong? Because of the schedule they play. There's 2 things, right? Since 2020, Iowa trails only Georgia in both fewest points allowed and defensive efficiency. They were also top 5 in numerous statistics in 2023. And the year before, they were even better. And this year, there's no fall off. So here's Iowa's schedule this year. These first 4 games, they'll likely win them all. Now, this Iowa State game is always tough. Always tough. You can throw out all the stats and throw out everything. This is just an in-state rivalry. They could drop that game, but likely 4-0 through there. Going into Ohio State. The good thing about this is they play Ohio State at Ohio State, so that means Iowa's got an extra game at home. In essence, you don't want to play Ohio State at home because, you do. But the thing about this is Ohio State's probably going to beat them no matter where they play. and that's the one game on the schedule. You can say, okay, Iowa loses this one, and it's not at home. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They actually have 7 home games and 5 away games. I just now realized that 5 away games, one of them's Ohio State. So they've only got 4 away games this year. Minnesota, Michigan State, they got to go to the West Coast, and then Maryland. That makes the schedule even a little easier. I shouldn't say easier, favorable. Washington basically lost their offense to the NFL. They're all gone. Not all, but they lost their quarterback and wide receivers, and it's a totally different team, different coach, I do believe. And so I look down here now. Wisconsin's always trouble for Iowa. It's kind of like playing Ohio. It's kind of like playing Iowa State, and they do got to go to the West Coast to play UCLA, but UCLA isn't a juggernaut by any matter. And then they got Maryland and Nebraska, and those are all these are good teams, but that Iowa's defense is just nasty, and the only offense on here that's going to be able to play above and beyond their defense is Ohio State, and this is setting up for another 10 or 11 win season, in my opinion, barring injury. So the Big Ten got rid of their divisions. So last year I put money on the Iowa to win the Big Ten West, and they easily did that. And where's that at? Oh, there it is. So they don't have divisions anymore, and I found a bet to now you might not find this on other apps, other sites, but I found a bet to take that place of that, and it is right here. Iowa and Kentucky, they matched them up. Most regular season wins. Who will have more wins, Iowa or Kentucky? Now these odds aren't great here. 190, so a $10 bet. Only going to get you 526, but I do believe this is an extremely wrong matchup. I think they've got this number wrong as well, because Kentucky has a nasty schedule in the SEC this year. Now these rankings in parentheses are from last year, but Georgia, Ole Miss, very, very good teams. And then they got Florida and Auburn. Those are basically heads up coin flip games for Kentucky. And then they got Tennessee, who's good, and then Texas and Louisville. So that's a pretty nasty schedule for Kentucky. That's pretty nasty for Kentucky, who went 3-5 in the conference last year and 7-6 overall last year. So this bet is who wins more games, Iowa or Kentucky, right? And so they've got Kentucky. The line I showed you where they have Iowa at 7.5 wins, they've got Kentucky at 6.5. So they've already got Kentucky slated to lose an extra game, and Iowa's likely has one of the most favorable schedules in the country, considering their defense is outstanding. And if Iowa's offense can just produce a little bit, they got a new offensive coordinator, and if they can just produce just a little bit, if they can just stay on the field and score a few touchdowns, they could very easily win 11 of these games. Washington has to go from the West Coast to play Iowa at home. I do believe that might be a blackout game too. I'm not sure, but anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. This kid here, he's 24 years old now. He's one of those guys you're like, man, this is like his 12th year of college football, isn't it? He's just been around forever, seems like. And their whole offensive line, this feels like I'm trying to sell you on this now, but I want to put a little knowledge into this for you. The whole offensive line for Iowa is basically got a ton of experience now. And now they're super deep, and they can rotate guys just in and out, so they'll be fresh. They got good running backs. They got good tight ends. And they got a new coach. And that's one of the things that's going to be a problem for these first 4, 5, 6 games is no one's going to know what to expect out of their offense. Now, they'll probably just come out this first month, and they'll probably just be boring and vanilla, and then they'll probably open something up special for Ohio State. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is Kentucky's going to have a hard time. I see maybe 6 or 7 wins on this schedule because that's a tough schedule, man. And Kentucky's good, but it's going to be tough for them, considering Iowa's likely going to win, at least probably 9 games, 8 or 9 games. Can Kentucky win 9 or 10 games on that schedule? I think that's highly unlikely. So I really like this bet. What I'm trying to say, they made another mistake here in my wheelhouse. There it is. And so obviously this year is the first year in college football where they actually are going to decide the national championship on the field. There's going to be 12 teams playing in a tournament for the championship. Why they didn't do that 30 years ago, I'm not quite sure. I suppose money and bowls and associations and stuff and agreements. So college football championship. I don't think Iowa's going to win the championship, but they could. So I'm going to win both these 2 bets I showed you here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put a little of the profit I'm going to make. I'm put 10 in here to see what it looks like. So a $10 bet on Iowa to win a national championship will bring home $4,000, right? So that's why I'm doing that. That's basically a free bet right there, because these first 2 bets are you just don't find anything better in football wagering. That's how good that these that's how bad these lines are. 7.5 is way off, and I think Iowa easily has more wins than Kentucky. And now this is just regular season, 12-game schedule, and so put a little profit, and I'm a homer, right? So if they did happen to win the national championship, I'd like to have $10 on it to win 4,000, right? So it's a homer bet, and then. Oh, shoot, I didn't see. Here's one of Iowa's tight ends right here. They actually have him 5th on the winning an award there. That's interesting. 12-team playoff wagering on the 12 teams that get in there. Now, this year in the Big Ten, how they're going to decide who goes to the championship is it's going to be the 2 teams with the best records, and then they've got like a tiebreaker system of some sorts. But the 2 teams in the Big Ten with the best Big Ten record will play for the play for the Big Ten championship. So that's likely going to be Ohio State versus someone. And if there was divisions, I would think this would be a wonderful bet that Iowa would win the division, particularly with that favorable schedule. But so basically, the rest of the Big Ten is going to beat each other up. Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin. Michigan will have a drop off this year for sure, a little bit, but they'll still be really good. But there's a chance that if Iowa plays for the Big Ten championship, if they have the second best record in the Big Ten, they're probably getting invited to the 12-team playoff, win or lose against Ohio State. So there might be a rematch against Ohio State, and this video got a lot longer than I wanted it to. But there's that. That's another one. I'll put. Why is it not so? That's another one we want to look at. So I got 4 bets here, and this is basically another situation where they, maybe they don't make it. I don't want to be too homer, but put a little bit of that profit. These first 2, man, it just doesn't get any better than this. These are just major mistakes by whoever made these lines. That's just how bad those are. This is just stupid. It's stupid bad, and I think it's computerized. I think it's an AI computer spitting out these recommendations, because I don't think a human being can watch that Iowa defense play the last 2-3 years and sit here and say, with all the, if they've just been paying attention, that there's no way this should be 7.5. That it should probably almost be just 9 starting off. But okay, so there it is. $10 on Iowa to make the 12-team playoff. 65 brings you $65. So maybe I put 100 on this. Maybe whatever. Say I put 100 on this, 100 on this, maybe a couple hundred on each one of those, and then $10-$20 on these next 2. Maybe I put $20-$25 on Iowa to win the national championship, and $30-$40-$50 or something for that. Basically those are basically free bets, and free bets are always cool. And anyways, that's it. I just want to bring you to this. This is wrong. This one here, and particularly Iowa, Kentucky one. That's the more I think about it, that's almost a no-brainer. but the odds aren't very good. But anyways, all right. Hope you enjoyed it. Later.